This is it, ladies and gentlemen. I think we're ready to drop the motor. So here's our Harbor Freight special. Hopefully it holds up. If not, I'm going to be incredibly sad, and I'll probably have a video of me pushing the EVO off a cliff into the ocean. Hey everybody, this is the second part to a two-part series of removing the engine out of this EVO 9 behind me. In this episode, I show you how to actually disconnect the engine from the engine mounts and lower it through the bottom of the chassis and everything that is required to get the engine out. There is a first part to the series, and if you missed that, I encourage you to go back and watch that, because that's the episode that I show you how to disconnect the wire harness, the throttle cable, and the heater lines. In this video, we just disconnect a few other little odds and ends that I found right before we hooked up the engine hoist, and I show you the tricks and techniques that I use to drop this engine out of the bottom of this car. So thanks for stopping by, and let's get to work. Alright guys, so it's a new day now. I took a break. We got all the wiring disconnected on this thing. I'm being a little bit quiet because my son is asleep like directly above the garage, so I don't want to wake him up. We're at the point now where we have to take the slave cylinder out. I think it's just two 12mm bolts, really easy to get out, and we just slide that out of the way. I'm being told online that you have to disconnect the pilot bearing or the shift fork from the pilot bearing before you can disconnect the transmission. So that's what I'm going to work on now. I might not be able to get that on video because it's a really small hole that you have to actually put your screwdriver through, but I'll try to do my best to describe how I did it. Getting really close now to dropping the engine out, but in order to do that, we gotta get the exhaust manifold out of the way. The two bolts or nuts on the end are 14mm, and all these ones in the middle are 12mm. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take the rest of these nuts off. Just pull this straight out, guys. Real simple to do, and get that out of the way. It's kind of interesting. Not sure if that's normal or not. Have to look into that a little bit. I mean, they are riveted together. Oh well, I guess it's one solid piece. It's just copper or something like that. Wonder if that's the original one. So now we got the exhaust manifold out of the way. Let's go ahead and take this air conditioning thing out of here. Hey, I can never remember the name of this pipe. But I think we have enough line on here to pull it out and swing it up here. If I can get to the back. Alright, sorry about that. I had to grab my ratchet with my 12mm. So I had to hang that up real quick because we still have a wire hooked up to the power steering pump that is connected, like the same loom goes down to the air conditioner pump. Man, I'm gonna get so many comments on what that thing's called. I just forget. I know what it's called, but I can't think of it right now. But we gotta take this wire out real quick, guys. Disconnect it, and then we should be able to be clear to take that out of the way. So honestly, at the end of the day, this thing right here was such a pain in the butt just to try to save the coolant inside the lines. If I could go back and do it again, I'd have just had this thing drained at a shop and taken it off, because it's just cumbersome, it's in the way, and I thought I could do it without taking it off, which I can, not a big deal, but I feel like something is going to end up getting broken that's going to be more expensive than what I'm saving by saving a little bit of time and money. So we'll see how it goes. Gotta disconnect this power steering line now, and I don't think there's any fluid left in here. There might be, let's see, or, well, no. Just take this off with a pair of pliers and see what happens. Probably a whole mess of fluid will come out of there. So here it is, motor's coming out. Here is our rig, Harbor Freight Special. Obviously, hopefully it holds up. We have one of those levelers, which is also Harbor Freight. And the only thing that's probably quality out of all this is the bolts that are going into the block, or excuse me, the head are 10.9, so they should have plenty of strength to hold this up. So basically the plan is to get the crane in there and support the engine while I slowly unbolt. You can't really see them, but there's 3 bolts that go into this engine mount right here. Or 4 bolts on this side, and then there's 3 right there, which I'm gonna slowly unbolt and lower everything through the bottom of the car onto none other than another Harbor Freight dolly with allegedly 1,000-pound capacity. So I'm putting a lot of faith in the Harbor Freight right now, and I hope it holds up. I mean, it should be okay. I do have my old trusty rusty jack, and just to be safe for right now, I was going to throw this motorcycle stand underneath of the oil pan, and I was going to lower it down the engine slowly on that. In case something happened, it'd fall down, and hopefully the engine stand will stop it and would just damage the oil pan, and we could figure out something. At least we have some kind of safety for the engine. But this is one mounting hole, and then there's another one on this other side, and I'm going to go ahead and hook up the hoist right now, and wish me luck, guys, because this is probably the most stressful time I've had with this car so far, and I really don't want anything to go wrong. Pulling the crane in here, and I noticed I forgot to take the engine auxiliary cooler out, so I'm going to leave everything hooked up. I'm just going to disconnect these 3 mounting bolts off of the frame, and I'm going to do that off camera just to make things go quicker. I really want to get this out like in the next hour, so it's really easy, guys, just 3 bolts. Everything comes right off, no problem. Okay, here's where I'm at, everybody. Got the bolts in. I took the slack out of the chains, so I'm kind of pulling up on the mounts right now. I'm just doing one last little look here, and then I'm going to start slowly taking these bolts out, because I'm going to drop everything down through the bottom onto that 1,000-pound guaranteed Harbor Freight 2x4 dolly from China. So as of right now, it looks like the crane is supporting this side. I can move all these nuts freely with just my fingers, so that means that all the pressure is on the hoist right now. So I keep working on this side and just lowering everything slowly, straight down. I'm gonna take my time, so this part of the video might end up like a time lapse. Alright guys, so I just want to show you this real quick. I had to use this floor jack on the other side to make sure that the engine came down evenly, and that was because I think the transmission side is just a little bit heavier, or it's just off center a little bit, and that side was dropping down more, and it was causing this engine mount right here to bind up, and I wouldn't be able to get it out. So here we are, everybody. We got the engine out of the car. So we've got to clean up this engine bay. And we got the engines and transmission still connected. I'll probably disconnect that here soon. Still got the hoist hooked up just to make sure it doesn't roll over. Still have it sitting on that dolly, which it did work. It was pretty tight getting it out from underneath of there, but it did work. Biggest pain in the butt was this thing. Once again, it got caught on it, and it may have punctured the condenser, I don't know. So just do yourself a favor and take that thing out if you're gonna pull your motor. Not too much else to say other than just take your time, especially if you've never done it before. Use the jack to support the tail shaft of the transmission. That way when you're lowering it, you can lower it evenly. All I did was I lowered the jack a little bit, and then I come over and lower the hoist a little bit, just, you know, maybe an inch at a time. You're not in any rush, you know, you're just trying to get it out without damaging anything, and that's like the main concern is just making sure that you don't break anything. You know, you want to constantly be checking your to make sure you're not hung up on anything, or you don't have anything still hooked up by accident. No big if you do, just stop real quick and, you know, disconnect whatever's hanging up and take it out. If you do this job all the time, I'm sure it's quick, but, you know, I'm just a hobbyist. I'm just a guy who works out of his garage on the weekends and weeknights, you know, when he has a little extra time. I don't do this all day, every day, so I'm sure people at shops can get these things out way faster, more efficiently than I can, but, you know, I'm just the common man using discounted tools, you know, and kind of figuring it out as I go. So we got a lot of cleaning up to do, and I think that's going to wrap up this episode. So we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.